On the night of October 28, 1943, the commanding general, 17th Army, General der Pionere Erwin Jaenecke, declaring that he refused to take the responsibility for another Stalingrad, informed Field Marshal von Kleist that he proposed to execute the command to evacuate which the army group had issued on the 26th, and Hitler had cancelled. Kleist countered, with an order to hold the Crimea no matter how the battle went. He offered the explanation that Hitler had said things would look better in 2 weeks, and then the Crimea could be reopened with fresh forces. Jaenecke refused to accept that order. Kleist then put through a personal phone call to Jaenecke. Since much has been written about the blind obedience of the German generals, it may be worthwhile to recount the ensuing conversation as an example of what an attempt to disobey an order involved. After stating that Jaenecke's intention had possibly been misinterpreted and receiving his assurance that it had not, Kleist went on.
You are to defend the Crimea.
I cannot execute that order. No one else will execute it either. The corps commanders believe the same as I do.
So, collusion, conspiracy to disobey an order. If you cannot, someone else will command the army.
I report again that in the light of my responsibility for the army, I cannot execute the order.
As a soldier, I have often had to struggle with myself in similar situations. You will not save a single man. What is to come will come one way or another. This attitude only undermines the confidence of the troops. If I get one more division, everything will be all right.
That is building castles in the air. One must deal with realities here. I cannot wait until Army Group South has gone that far. The Crimea must be defended on its entire perimeter.
To retreat under pressure of the enemy is well and good. To retreat this way is something else.
The army has not yet been attacked. A little reinforcement on the isthmus and everything will be in order. The enemy will prefer to strike west and then north into the flank of 1st Panzer Army, rather than into the Perekop Narrows.
If the Russians attack, the catastrophe is at hand. I must recall once more the example of General Field Marshal Paulus at Stalingrad.
The details of events there are not known. The accounts of what happened vary. Do you believe that the Führer will allow himself to be influenced by you? He has already said once that he will not allow any general to subject him to blackmail. If the commanding general, 17th Army, does not execute the order, he will break every rule of soldierly deportment. Will you follow the order or not?
In relaying an account of the incident to Zeitzler, Kleist said that he did not want to court-martial Jaenecke, but could not keep him as an army commander. Jaenecke stayed on, however, possibly because Zeitzler and Kleist, on second thought, decided it would be better not to bring a further example of a general's alleged unreliability to Hitler's attention. Probably no amount of argument would have persuaded Hitler to give up the Crimea. As always, he expected his luck to change and had vague plans to recoup his losses. On their side, the generals, optimism and determination being among the most highly regarded virtues of their profession, were for the most part unwilling to proclaim a cause lost as long as a glimmer of hope, no matter how remote, remained. In this instance, Hitler at the end of the month found support in another quarter. Manstein, who was getting 5 fresh panzer divisions from Italy in the west to clean up the breakthrough in his own sector, proposed to attach them to 1st Panzer Army for a quick counterattack and then, as soon as the Russians were stopped, shift them south to the Dnieper bend to attack into the flank of the thrust against 6th Army. Manstein's plan was reminiscent of the Kharkov offensive earlier in the year, and Hitler, seeing in it not only a chance to keep the Crimea open but the prospect of a full-scale victory as well, approved immediately. For Manstein, too, the plan must have had an extraordinary attraction, as an exercise in virtuosity and as another opportunity to demonstrate the tactics he had long advocated of using the retreat to trap and waylay the enemy.